Have you ever heard the term counting collections before? Do you believe that is important for students to count various objects? Well, we want to inform you about the term counting collections and how it could be implemented into your classroom. Counting collections is a structured opportunity for children to count a collection of objects in the classroom. It can be used almost every day, and it gives them the opportunity to make sense of concepts and practice counting in a real context situation. Kids love to count, so this is a perfect opportunity to get children excited about counting, and it also helps children learn about our place value system, which we use in the US, which is the base 10, so it gets them an early introduction to that system.
Our first objective is that we want you to be able to gain factual knowledge about the term counting collections. And you will gain that through our presentation as we talk about counting collections and how you can implement them into your mathematics classroom. And our second objective is that you will be able to identify different ways to categorize counting collections, and we will demonstrate how to do so with the crayons.
When you're introducing the term counting collections, you want to make sure that it is very individualized and you don't push kids to count one specific way. You want to let them use their creativity and let them be independent when they are working with collections of objects. They could count in various ways. To start, you might just want to introduce the simple counting by one. So they would just, for instance, you could give them a stack of anything. So in this instance, we have crayons. So they could just count 1, 2, 3, and so forth. As they get more advanced and they become more skilled and want to move on, they might choose to count by 2. So they could easily just go 2, 4, 6, and so on to get to the destination of the number that they want to reach. And then this could go on and on. It could go by 5, so they could take 5 crayons, they could take 10s, and as they keep going, they're going to just keep building on their learned skills.
So the students may categorize by, in this case with the crayons, they'd categorize by color. So they might put all of the orange in one group, the yellow in another group, and that is okay to do. Even younger children will actually do it as well without even being informed to do so. But they can categorize by shape, color, size, whatever helps them be able to group them and count them into their collections.
So once the children are done counting their collections and they get their number, you want to be able to make sure that you know how they're using their counting. So you want to give them some type of sheet that they can record all their data on. So for instance, if they were counting by ones, you would just see a dot for each crayon counted with maybe a number 1 under it. But if they chose to count by 2s, they might have 2 dots and maybe draw a circle around it and label 2, and then you would know by just looking at their paper that they chose to count by 2s, and then that could go on if they did by 5s or 10s. And that's important because you want to be able to see where the children are at in their stage so you can move them forward. If you notice that they're able to count by 2s, and you might want to push for them to move on to counting by 5s and so on. So that's why it's important to have record sheets while they are counting.
When you implement counting collections into your classroom, you should first model how to count and start off by just counting by 1 so they know what they're expected to do as well. So you would model how to do it in the front of the room and making sure to say everything that's even going on in your head, saying everything out loud so they understand. And then the students will separate they could do it individually or in small groups or in pairs, totally up to the teacher. And the students will work on counting by themselves. And as they do that, it's good for the teacher to walk around and observe each student and ask questions like, how are you counting? Why are you counting using that method? Just so the student is able to explain what they're doing, which will help further understanding of counting collections.
Sum this presentation up, we just want to encourage you all to implement counting collections into your classroom because it is a great strategy for young children.